Well, the president wants to exhaust all of his legal avenues, as he has made clear many times, and his team is doing that. I see in the paper they're doing that. They're going to different states and trying to do that. And of course, that is his right. At the same time, it's President Trump who freed up the GSA money and authorized them to go ahead and start the transition process for the Biden-Harris team, because we want the engines of government to keep going. And you always need a peaceful transfer of democracy, no matter whose administration goes into whose administration. There's no question. If you look at the vote totals in the Electoral College tally, it looks like Joe Biden and Kamala Harris will prevail.
So that was Kellyanne Conway, former Trump spokesperson and advisor and counsel, admitting the election is over, the Electoral College math is undeniable, Joe Biden will be the next president. And Donald Trump has all of these legal rights. He has the technical right to examine some of these things and bring issues to court, but fundamentally, none of them are substantive, and the result is clear. He has lost the election. And she's one of the few high-profile Republicans, especially someone so close to Donald Trump, to actually admit this. Somebody who worked extremely close with Trump is now saying that, look, what this country needs is a smooth and stable and secure transition of power, and maybe we'll get that if, we all just recognize the results as they are. And I think that was her position. And I think this is crucial also because we have to remember that Kellyanne Conway, maybe more than anyone else, made her job lying for Donald Trump. She was Donald Trump's liar-in-chief when he needed someone to go in front of the camera before the election, but also after it. For the entire half decade, really, since 2015, Kellyanne Conway was there to lie for him, to misrepresent the truth for him, to distort the truth for him, to do all of these sorts of things for him. She was always there for him to tell the lies that even other people wouldn't tell. And she was loyal to Trump, and she only recently left the White House to deal with some family issues, but it's very telling that somebody who made her job being Trump's number one liar is one of the few top Republicans to admit the truth here. And I think it's also pretty interesting because her family situation, as I alluded to, is very, very complicated. Off the top, her husband is George Conway, who is a Republican, but he's a very highly noted anti-Trump Republican. He was one of the key figures in the Lincoln Project, which at least ostensibly made itself all about restoring sanity to the conservative movement by defeating Donald Trump and hopefully ushering in a more responsible Republican Party. Now, I'm not a fan of the Lincoln Project. I think they're a bit cynical, but that's the ostensive point of it. So on the one hand, you had George Conway, high-profile Republican, hated Trump, and then on the other, you had Kellyanne Conway, high-profile Republican, one of Trump's biggest liars and supporters, and they were married, and this dragged their daughter into it, who is, if anything, anti-Trump, but also a fan of AOC, and was very critical of her mother lying for Trump and basically doing all these things for him, and it sort of drove both of them away from the political light for a while. But now you have Kellyanne Conway hinting here that she wants to help Biden and Harris. She basically said later on in this interview, it looks like Joe Biden and Kamala Harris will prevail, and if there's anything I can ever do to help, they can count on me. That is quality groveling. This is somebody who is really trying to jump ship and hopefully hitch a ride on a raft of legitimacy that she's sort of, doesn't deserve. Kellyanne Conway doesn't deserve that. She wasn't some low-ranking secretary in the White House for Trump. She wasn't some 21-year-old that got a job working for Trump and maybe didn't know what she was doing. This was a top-flight professional that knew that she was lying for a living for one of the world's most dangerous men, and she did it happily for a half decade. And there's no excusing that. And so just because her husband is an anti-Trump Republican and just because she recognized the results doesn't mean she should be welcomed back into respectable society just because of it. This is a moment of character. These sorts of people have to be ostracized because they are not trustworthy. I don't care that she did the right thing and saying Biden won. It's not good enough, and she has not nearly atoned for her sins under the Trump regime.